the story right, and now I see, yeah. Bro Sanchez, just one who's out there in the fight to teach. Bro Sanchez, you got the story right, and now I see, yeah. Bro Sanchez.
Peace and much love. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. How y'all doing today? Salutes to everybody in the chat room. Make sure y'all like and share this video. I'm catching y'all off guard with some information that just dropped on my table. And it's something that I told y'all was going to happen. I told y'all this was going to happen. And I got to go ahead and cover it because it happened actually quicker than I thought it would. So we definitely got to cover this. Come on in, come on in, come on in, y'all. Come on in here. My bad. Come on in, y'all. Like and share on your way in. So they are calling for the United Nations to step in for 3i Atlas. And people, the PSYOP already out there. Ain't no incoming PSYOP. This is old at this point, Prophet 615. You right, it's a big PSYOP. And we already told the people what the psychological operation is all about, to get more of your rights taken. More control and power for this centralized government that they want. I keep telling y'all, everybody keep talking about the New World Order. They talking about, you know, how there's going to be a one world government at some point. And we're at the brink of that. In order for them to have a one world government, they need a major cataclysm. They need to pull off a great deception in the heavens, and the Bible prophesied it. It said that the beast will do signs and wonders in the heavens. Be not deceived. Some to that nature. The great deception that's going to deceive many, which the Bible speak of, is when they use blue beam and pull off the great doomsday deception. And right then and there, you're going to have a new world order and all powers on earth consolidating into a one world government. Like and share on your way in. Again, welcome back to the show, family. Again, today we diving into something real heavy. This so-called object that they call in 3i Atlas. Now, they want us to believe that it's flying through space. But notice how there's no live footage, no raw images from satellites, not even snapshots from the rovers on Mars. All we getting is CGI animations, computer graphics, and news talking points. People is talking about they tracking an object, they just looking at dots on a computer. What's substantiating those dots? Now, here's the kicker, though. I told y'all on my last stream about 3i Atlas what this was going to lead to. And they already calling for the United Nations to step in. We about to play the video. I told y'all this was going to happen. Is already talk about the United Nations stepping in to investigate objects like this. But what does this mean for us? That's what we're going to get into. If the UN takes control of space, if the UN steps in and takes control of how space threats are tracked and reported, that literally gives them global authority over information, over policy, and even over how we live our lives here on Earth. I was telling y'all this on the last stream, because once we start going into this sort of doomsday psyops that we going now, they gotta create massive protocols, and that may even lead to statewide, citywide drills that involve the public. This can lead to curfews and all of this, but it would definitely have to be some sort of protocols for everyone to respond a certain way in case of type shit. But the whole thing about that is, who would be behind that? Because that'll be a powerful entity, and they asking for the UN. So that everyone talking about the New World Order agenda, the UN stepping in, getting all this power, and all of the nations coming together. Space is what's gonna do it. The flat earth debate is bigger than what y'all think, and there's a reason why they have been censoring flat earth. It's a threat to the whole deception that they about to pull off. You know that the ancient people said that we live under a firmament dome, and they didn't have any fears about meteors and comets and asteroids killing everybody. Now, if the government got advanced technology that they would like to implement on the people to quote unquote depopulate the earth, right? And that's the word Henry Kissinger used. He was very open about it. This the dude that got both Democrat and Republican in his pockets. Now, it's so many people at the top who's rich as hell, who have these depopulation agendas, and you just can't depopulate the earth the way they want to do it without some sort of major event. I think that if they have advanced weapons, they can use them on us and really tell y'all that that was just an asteroid or comet that just took out these people, and you can literally be under attack. This is a possibility. Now, people may question, but why would they want to do it? I ask myself all the time, why would these sick people have an agenda to depopulate the earth? They say it's too many useless eaters. I'm gonna use their words a lot today too. So here we are, and they want to bring in the UN. And again, if the United Nations take control over how space threats are tracked and reported, that gives them global authority over information policy and how we live our lives on Earth. So we about to break this all the way down, how fear of space rocks, comets, and asteroids can be used as a tool of control. We're going to look into how the UN could use this to push new laws, new taxes, more surveillance, and even space militarization under the guise of quote unquote protecting the planet. So stick with me, because once y'all see the full picture, you're going to understand this, what we are witnessing, has nothing to do with science, but has everything to do with power.
Sanchez cocinando. I analyzed the data from 4,000 observations of 3i Atlas over the past 4.5 months. So all of the data from 227 observatories on Earth shows no deviation from a trajectory shaped by gravity alone. And that means that despite the push on the object, it must be extremely massive to resist it. It doesn't care about it. And so I obtained a minimum mass of 33 billion tons for this object, which is at least 1,000 times.
Now, I want y'all to think about that now. They said that this object weighs 33 billion tons. What have y'all learned since the beginning when you first woke up and you got into symbolism, numerology? Whenever you dealing with staged events, what number do they use all the time? What's the magic number, y'all? It's Masonic, right? 33? Right. In all of these cases, and damn near all of these instances of these stagings, they will find a way to fit 33 into it. And wow, right off the back at 33 seconds into the video, the object is 33,000 pounds. Now, maybe that's just a coincidence. No, I ain't stupid.
Minimum mass of 33.
Now, think about that. The moment he say 33, the clock was on 33 seconds. Look at this. You see there? Now, so people may not get into symbolism. They may think it's a reach. It's not a reach, y'all. And we finna go into, because this is a Harvard astrophysicist. His name is Avi Loeb. And he's saying that this is alien technology and it could pose a threat to all humans on Earth. He's saying this is an international matter. They're promoting him on Fox. He making his rounds. He's only gonna get bigger and bigger. This man says 3i Atlas is an alien object and it's a threat to all humans. It is an international matter and we all need to be prepared for it. Again, they about to implement this new United Nations dictatorship overnight with this PSYOP. Everybody keeps saying that this is a PSYOP, but that just means psychological operation. What would be the end goal of it? More of your rights taken away, more of your power taken away. We've seen this happen before, but overnight you can have this sort of United Nations state to where the United Nations is promoted as the world authority, because they would be the entity that would be responsible for galvanizing all of the nations into one protocol so that we can all be on the same page with resources, manpower, and all that on how to respond to such a interstellar, threat. Because just say that the object ain't coming in through America's side. Let's say it's coming on China's side. They got to be ready. So everyone now got to chain arm to arm together and sort of, it's a new threat, right? That is interstellar. And this would call for a one world government, because in this case, it'll be stupid for everyone to be fighting each other if some about to take out every damn body on Earth. So this would be the perfect PSYOP to like usher in this one world protocol, is what you call the new world order system or whatever. But yeah, let's hear the man out. At 33 seconds in, he want to let us know for some reason it's 33,000 tons. 33, man. Hey, we know what we're dealing with here.
I analyzed the data from 4,000 observations of 3i Atlas over the past 4.5 months. So all of the data from 227 observatories on Earth shows no deviation from a trajectory shaped.
And if you want to watch the clock, you can see at 33 seconds is when he going to tell you about 33,000 tons.
by gravity alone. And that means that despite the push on the object, it must be extremely massive to resist it. It doesn't care about it. And so I obtained a minimum mass of 33 billion tons for this object, which is at least 1,000 times more than the previous interstellar comet that we saw back in 2019. So the question arises as to how come this is such a giant object comparable to Manhattan Island when the previous one, was so much smaller. The previous one was the size of a football field. This one is the size of Manhattan Island. It's quite a difference. And you would expect many more of the small ones before you see a big one like that. So that's a puzzling fact. Also, today there was a report about nickel coming out of this object without much iron. And again, that
They can tell you so much about an object so far away, can't they?
is a very unusual property of it. And also we know that the object came along a path that is aligned with the plane of the planets around the sun. And that's highly unusual because the chance for that happening at random is 1 in 500.
Y'all see? So the reason he's saying that is to suggest to the people that it's alien and that it's being steered.
In addition, just a few days ago, I realized that back on August 15th, 1977, there was a very famous flare in the radio signal that was given the name the wow signal because the observers that recorded it at Ohio State University.
Shout out to Jay Scaramella, censorship on free speech just in time for Bluebeam. They're going to clamp down on Flat Earth hard. Oh, yeah, they already been doing it. Now, everyone that sent in a super chat yesterday, I'm going to go over those. I'm going to be still reading those throughout my streams that's coming up, including this one. So definitely stick around. I actually will be reading some of those today.
Was stunned at how powerful this signal was, and wrote "wow" in the document that records that signal, and so it's called the "wow" signal from 1977. And
yeah, I read all of them yesterday, but I'm gonna read them again because some people wanted me to touch on certain topics, and we had got ahead of time, but. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna open those up and you know what I'm saying, read trying to see how to pull it back up. All right.
And I checked it. Turns out that it came from about the same direction in the sky as 3I Atlas, within 9 degrees. And the chance for a random alignment of the two directions of 9 degrees or so is 0.6%. So the question arises whether this wow signal from 1977 was transmitted by 3I Atlas. We don't know, and there was no report on.
They see how they throw themselves the alley-oop. See, when they received the wow signal, which was a bunch of BS, they know they ain't received nothing. They making all of this crap up. But they setting themselves up now to say, hey, that signal came from this object. I don't believe none of these folks say, because science shouldn't be a matter of belief. You just telling folks stuff and ain't proving nothing, because ain't no methodology to this kind of science. It's just believe the experts.
Radio observations of 3I Atlas so far. So I'm encouraging radio astronomers around the world to check out whether there is any radio transmission from 3I Atlas. I calculated that back in 1977, the object was 600 times farther from us than the sun is. And that was a large distance. And presumably, if it had transmitted that signal, it had quite a powerful transmitter, about a gigawatt, according to my calculations, which is comparable to the power output of.
Shout out to Goonho. The clock on the wall is 33. God, good catch, bro. Damn, drop a bomb on that. Yeah, bro, that was a real good catch, Goonho. Dang, bro. If y'all look at the clock on the wall behind him, it's on 3-3. Now, come on, folks. The clock been stuck on 3-3 from the whole video, and the video 10 minutes. It should at least moved. But that was a fire catch. Now, 33 seconds in, he tell us it's 33,000 pounds. And the clock is on goddamn 3-3, bro. That was fire. Now, that's too many coincidences with the Masonic shit. Asia Mariga, thank you so much for the super chat. President Reagan said how fast the world would come together in the face of an alien threat. Oh my! Yeah, it's real, man. It's real, and only a few people gonna see the agenda.
A nuclear reactor that we have on Earth. So all of these are interesting tidbits that came along across the past week or so. But in addition, yesterday, I decided to submit a white paper to the United Nations.
This the part y'all need to pay attention to. Oh my God! Now, this dude got pulled. He's an astrophysicist at Harvard. So you know he's gonna get his peers on his side, and they finna ask and push to get the United Nations involved. You see what I'm saying? And they wanna talk about alien technology and some. See, they're setting it all up, y'all, to attack us. I've been telling y'all about this. I've been telling y'all for so long. They got direct energy weapons that they want to put in the upper atmosphere and literally target entire areas. They got apocalyptic technology, y'all. And all of the apocalyptic events that we're about to see coming up, it ain't going to be from God. And it ain't gonna be from aliens. It's gonna be covert, a United Nations effort to repopulate the earth, to depopulate and repopulate the earth with a new type of human that is chipped up, controlled, and basically a transhuman. Now, it may sound crazy to y'all, but guess what? You can look everything up, what I'm saying, on the World Economic Forum's website, the Heritage Foundation website, Project 2025. All of these agendas are tying together to lay the foundation for this whole new government system we about to go into.
Than the sun is, and that was a large distance, and presumably if it had transmitted that signal, it had quite a powerful transmitter, about a gigawatt according to my calculations, which is comparable to the power output of a nuclear reactor that we have on Earth. So all of these are interesting tidbits that came along across the past week or so. But in addition, yesterday, I decided to submit a white paper to the United Nations, basically calling for the creation of a committee that will analyze what we know about interstellar objects that come into the solar system from outside, similar to 3I Atlas, that look anomalous, because we have to be prepared for a black...
Y'all see here? And now let me just share something with you. I want y'all to think of how many billions of dollars that the space program got, right? Now, what we're looking at now is live stream footage of Mars. This right here is supposed to be Mars, y'all. Look at this. I can't make this up. Look at this, y'all. This is Mars, not Earth now. This ain't Earth, y'all. This is Mars. This is 24/7 Mars footage, bro. And 3I Atlas is supposed to cross by Mars. So guess what? We got rovers on Mars. Why aren't we able to see this thing outside of these little animations right here? You see, let me show you something here. This ain't proof, man. Let me show y'all something. When you go to the 3-eye atlas trackers, right? That is not proof, sir. It's just dots on a computer program. That ain't telling you. How do you know that each dot is a good representation of something that's literally there and poses a threat? Now, if you know space don't exist, then you already know it's a bunch of BS. But they live tracking atlas. Let's see if we can find some more to show y'all what I'm talking about. Because, what is this? Space Unlimited. Let's check them out. This is a good one right here. So look at this. This is what I'm talking about. This is enough proof for people. In the future, they just gonna go on the news worldwide and they gonna show dots on a computer program and they're gonna show one dot getting closer and closer to Earth and everyone gonna be like, oh. And when the dot make contact with Earth, that is when they're gonna set off whatever weapons they wanna set off and implement whatever strike they wanna implement. Now, people may say, damn, that was a comet that just landed in such and such nation. That landed in boom, 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 when really you're under attack from the upper atmosphere with direct energy weapons and all kind of different smart technology that they finna implement. And yeah, projectiles in the form of that'll look like a comet. You can't really tell a comet strike and a missile attack apart, because if they showing you what, let me just show you what I mean, because I can show you better than I can tell you. So show y'all. So here's what they're saying. Let me pull this up here. 3-eye atlas right here. So 3-eye atlas ain't just one thing. What they saying is it broke up into a bunch of little cigar-shaped shards. So this what they showing. Like it's a fleet. Let's show you. Here's a good one. Here's 3-eye atlas right there in that crowd. But they saying it ain't it's part of a bunch of fragments, but it's headed toward us. And it ain't gonna be one just thing. It's gonna have debris with it. It ain't just one object, right? But when you start look at what they showing you of how this thing is going to be, when they show you its trajectory, you imagine something like this striking Earth right here. Let's pull this up. This is like bullets. And they supposed to be going at these ridiculous speeds. They're 33,000 tons, So these are like, come on, we believe this stuff. Some the size of, let's see, 33,000 tons. Yeah, that would be the island of Manhattan traveling at so many times the speed of a bullet is ridiculous. And this is crazy. But let me show you if you can see what missile strikes in the sky look like. Especially at night. That'll be a good one. So you chilling, you on your backyard smoking your doobie. You watching the news and they talking about 3-eye atlas is headed toward Earth. You look in the sky, you take your hit of your doobie, and you say, "Help me, God," and boom, the sky turns into this. Look. Now, if you look at this and you look at this, they are already training your mind that when you get hit with these missiles, it ain't missiles, it's 3-eye atlas. So If you know that the firmament dome is real, then you know that what they telling everybody is BS. But most of the world believe in space, which is, even though there is no threat from space, because we enclosed with the firmament dome, we're protected, right? They can make a threat because the masses believe in space and they believe that stuff like this is a possibility. So it has never happened, ever. No ancients ever recorded, none of that. Only them and their doomsday stories. So in our time, they're gonna make it happen with Blue Beam and with the right technology, because they need a reason to keep this the planetary defense program there. The planetary defense program is so instrumental in helping us get toward the New World Order agenda, because you can't have a one world government without a huge interstellar type event like what they trying to create now. And the people that would be responsible over that sort of department would be your planetary defense department. So when the United Nations start having a direct communication line to everyone's planetary defense department, our planetary defense departments will start getting more power than the president and your all governments, because you're gonna have to go to a certain protocol, and we're responding to activity that's happening on a cosmic level. And if everyone don't, and see, you can't be the nigga that's trying to play with this, pushing back at this, because guess what they gonna say? You jeopardizing everybody's life. Now, how would you think the world feel about you? They might just try to harm you, man. All of you science deniers, all of you people that's saying space ain't real, when they strike with these missiles, it's gonna be so crazy that instead of the people waking up, realizing that it's Blue Beam and a trick of the devil, they're gonna double down on their ignorance and say, we told y'all space was real. And anyone now denying space, you really gonna be dangerous. Because now we getting hit with asteroids and comets now. You see the psyop, right?
Swan event, an event with a small probability that could change everything for us. And it's really important to be prepared for that. And currently, there is no international organization. Obviously, alien technology would be a threat to all humans on Earth. It wouldn't care how we split the land on this rock that we call our home, the Earth.
See, what he talking is laying a foundation for the one world government, y'all. Let's ignore borders. Let's have one global dictatorship, one power, which is the UN, working through the planetary defense programs under the guise of an interstellar threat. Aliens are trying to hit, and they got the technology to pull this off too. They got the technology to light the sky up. They got the technology to make great cataclysms take place on the ground.
And so it's an international matter, and we need to be organized in that fashion. And I'm suggesting, given that the Rubin Observatory in Chile will find a new interstellar object every few months in the coming decade, that we attend to each of those through a committee that would look at all the data, use all the assets we have to evaluate the risk or the threat, how anomalous the object is, and then decide about how to respond to it.
After we get through the video, I'm going to let y'all know what this means for us moving forward.
If it looks suspicious.
When you say respond, that's the key word there. If this ends up being a threat, what does that look like for us? How do we respond, and who leads that effort?
Well, that's an excellent question, because just think about ants that are sitting in the crack of a pavement and they see a biker passing by, the ants would have no way of doing anything about the biker because they just don't have the ability to cope with the biker, and they don't have the means to communicate with the biker. And so we might be in a similar situation where we have no way of affecting the actions of alien technology that comes to visit us because it's far more advanced than any.
Y'all see that, right? You see here? I've been telling y'all about this. Y'all believing in aliens is going to cost y'all in the end of days. Shout out to Joshua Tellerton. I've been telling y'all about this, man. This is a dang on doomsday religion. It is satanic. It is a sinister agenda. They trying to put out there as if aliens are visiting the earth with this advanced technology, because the technology that they about to be using is advanced. They've been hiding this stuff in secrecy, and they're going to implement this shit through the UN on the masses. Yeah, Tesla was talking about technology that could basically depopulate the earth in a short amount of time. He said he had a remote control that can destroy the entire Brooklyn Bridge in 5 minutes. You know how many years it took to build the Brooklyn Bridge? You know, 5 minutes is about how long it take you to take a piss, and it's gone. That's some crazy technology, especially when it manipulates the atmosphere. It's weird alien-like technology. You go and look at some of Tesla patents, and you can see how they controlling the weather and all that right now. You got to understand who took control over Tesla patents. Shout out to hydrogen. The technology that they going to implement is going to look apocalyptic. The religious people are going to say it's God. The fake pseudo woke conscious community people are going to say it's Nibiru and the Anunnaki and all that stuff. But everyone going to have their own pre-programmed apocalyptic doomsday rhetoric and ain't nobody going to be saying we're under attack by our own powers that be. They implement the blue beam new world order agenda. Nope, everyone gonna fall for it, even though we've been warning about it. Even the people that's in these conscious communities talking about blue beam is gonna be saying, man, you think it's the Anunnaki? You think it's the reptilians? Bro, what happened to that blue beam conversation you was talking about? Could it be that? See, the truth is people just talking. When some shit finally manifests, they gonna fall for it like the rest of the masses. It's sad.
That's right!
Many technologies that we possess, but we should be aware of that. You know, as of now, we learned the lesson from the dinosaurs that were killed.
See, they getting your mind automatically to think, hey, we may get wiped out and ain't nothing we can do about it. But just so happen that if they really felt like this, all of the rich people on earth, wouldn't we be getting involved with, see, the thing is this, the way they're selling this to the world, they're too calm, relaxed, and they're selling it like a psyop. It just smells like a psyop, but I've been telling y'all this, to see it rolling out is just crazy, man. And you're going to see a lot of people falling for it. Yeah, we need to get the United Nations involved. We need to have protocols in place. People going to ask for their freedom to be taken away. Yeah, an interstellar threat. And people, I'm not fearing none of this stuff because I know it's them with the technology in the upper atmosphere and what they can do. I know what they can do with the technology they got. And I got streams coming up and I'm going to be going into detail on that. But we got to show y'all how the UN is going to get activated on a global level. And overnight, we gonna be in this new world order state that we've been talking about.
66 million years ago by a giant rock the size of Manhattan Island, roughly the size of 3i Atlas, that hit the Earth. So we are preparing for that. We are saying, let's monitor the sky for any rocks that are flying by, and then we can deflect them. But that assumes that, it's a rock. Nobody imagines a situation where it might be alien technology, and that's something that we must entertain, given that we launched spacecraft that will exit the solar system, like Voyager, for example, and we just did it over the past 50 years. Imagine if we had continued research and development in science and technology over a period of 1,000 years instead of 100 years, or over a period of 1,000,000 years. And that's some benefit that another civilization might have relative to us.
Obviously, as a scientist, this is right up your wheelhouse, and you're calling on policymakers to do more as well.
You see there? Obviously, as a scientist, this is right up your... So this is automatically saying, look, you're a scientist. No one can challenge you. They shut the hell up. And if you're calling for policymakers to step in, then that's what we need to do. For everyone's safety, remember. For your quote-unquote safety. Right? You hear this? And he's reading from a script. Listen.
Obviously, as a scientist, this is right up your wheelhouse, and you're calling on policymakers to do more as well. Why should the average American, or here in Chicagoan watching at home, why should they follow this?
Right. So, I mean, you could decide to not to lose any sleep on that. And that is if you prefer to believe.
I'm not losing no damn sleep on this at all. This is dumb crap. Deflecting rocks that's on the way to hit Earth. That's doomsday psyops. We know y'all are the ones doing the damn attacking. It's the governments of the world using technology against World War III. Gonna be the powers versus the people. Sanchez, you sound stupid. You just making stuff up. Now, all of the people that talk like that, they say that they Christians, right? They got their Bibles and all that. But guess what the Bible said? That the last war that's going to be fought on earth, Armageddon, is basically going to be the good versus evil, a.k.a. the people versus the power. Shout out to Marlon Wells. It don't say nothing about this country versus that country. How are they going to get the J's and the U.S. to cooperate with the UN? This is too fake when they still bombing humans. The J's is already cooperate with the UN. Are you serious? Yeah, you can't be serious. Yeah, you can't be serious. Yeah, the J's already cooperate with the UN. And when we talk about them bombing humans, I'm talking about them bombing entire shit the size of Manhattan, hurling toward whole black cities. So I'm talking about if they got the kind of technology to create sonic boom effects, you wouldn't be able to tell that EMP impact different than a solid object, because they ain't got to show you nothing but a big ass fireball in the sky. And Blue Beam can do that. And they can have it go down by the horizon line, and the moment it do that, they can hit that whole area with an EMP wave. And remember, they never find no remnants behind, so they ain't gotta have evidence of this comet that hit, and they can just start striking whatever area they want. With this electromagnetic sort of sonic boom technology, it's based on the fact that we're inside of an ether. There's certain fishes in the water, they can create like a huge wave that'll knock they opponent out or whatever real quick with the force of the water itself. manipulating the water that they're in. So we're like in a medium, right? They call it the ether in the ancestral day. And you can literally disturb it and create huge wave, like a rogue wave effect in certain areas with the right technology. Tesla was talking about it. So this sort of technology will be so. Remember, Tesla was all about sound, vibration, and this vibratory effect, electromagnetic effect. You're gonna hear, it's gonna sound like a huge collision, as if some made impact. It's gonna shake the ground as if some made impact. It may even leave a crater in a certain spot, but there will be nothing physical left behind. It won't be no rocks. You won't be able to say, hey man, here go a piece of the comet right here that came from space. They will always say the way that it hit, it just ain't got nothing left behind. What they'll always tell you was left behind is nickel, 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 nickel. If you look at all of the craters on Earth, they have these heavy concentrations of nickel. And they already telling you in this video that this thing has a lot of nickel. So, I mean, listen, somebody said, emailed you this tied to the fifth element. Okay, the fifth element. I'm gonna have to check that, come back and after I check that out, and yeah, I can do the breakdown. But man,
believe that anything in the sky is a rock. Okay, so including objects that come into our vicinity, close to our home.
So this Harvard astrophysicist is opening up the door for us to start treating certain objects on the CGI map, right, as alien. And when they do that, the planetary defense program is going to be given so much power. The UN is going to be promoted to a superpower, right? And all they got to do is show stuff like this through CNN and show you little dots on a program and say this one here is alarming, you know, and this can really be used to, you know, do everything that we said the New World Order wanted to do, basically.
And you know, the situation is similar to, suppose you look through the window and you see an animal coming into your backyard.
Him and these damn analogies to scare you. So just think, if you're in ant bed and there's a biker coming to roll you over, you can't do nothing about it. So, you know, you need to be very scared because we're an ant bed and here comes a biker. Here comes a biker. You better let me take away your rights. We need to get policymakers involved because after all, policy, which is policing you more, right, is going to be the answer to an interstellar threat, taking away more of your rights. How they going to do it? Because the censorship going to mean you just can't be talking how you want to talk about science once they say we got other visitors that may be threats. Any science deniers, they're going to really get strict on you with the censorship. Because they're going to say, bro, our life is directly in jeopardy here. Look at this little blip on this computer, man. Look at this. All right. Our life's so in jeopardy that we got to go out and police everyone who's saying is not. Now, people, if someone coming to murder you, will you spend your time focused on the niggas that's saying ain't nobody trying to murder him? Or will you be trying to protect yourself from the murderer? That lets you know it's a psyop. Because you telling me there's an outer threat, but yet you putting all your policy on interior civilians, on the people.
You know, the most likely situation is that it's a street cat. Now, if you see that the animal
And this man here just want to get people scared. We're an ant bed and a biker about to run over our ant bed. Come on, bro. And you just as calm with your suit on, promoting your fear mongering. These people are satanic.
you could decide to not to lose any sleep on that. And that is if you prefer.
And to the people who saying they ain't gonna loot, cause I'm gonna sleep like a baby. I don't care what y'all doing. I'm all the way up into the day where you hit with whatever you hit with. I ain't stressing. You deceiver. And you know what's crazy? He's saying to the naysayers, if the ant bed and the bike one didn't make you scared, let me give you another analogy. Wait for it.
To believe that anything in the sky is a rock. Okay, so including objects that come into our vicinity, close to our home. And you know, the situation is similar to suppose you look through the window and you see an animal coming into your backyard. You know,
So suppose you look through the window and you see an animal coming into your backyard. You're going to be scared. Like 3-Eye Atlas is the animal that's coming into your back. Come on with this other fear-mongering analogy, bro. Let's hear it.
the most likely situation is that it's a street cat. Now, if you see that the animal has a tail that is not coming out of its rear end, but it's coming from its forehead, and you realize that the animal is 1,000 times more massive than the previous street cat.
So now I gotta make you a big ass monster. So basically, he just said a cat. Let's see if we can get AI to generate what this fool just said. Let's get a picture of this shit here. Let's get a picture of this. A street cat with the tail on the forehead 10 times the size. We finna bring this nigga's vision to life. He wanna scare y'all so bad he had to create a boogeyman, and his boogeyman turned out to be a sweet little old kitten. Let's create it for it, y'all. Come on. So, a street cat with its tail on its forehead, and it is what he said, 10 times the size. 10 times the size. I know I'm just typing fast. Let's help him out. Shout out to Geometry. Shout out to everybody that, oh man. You know, let me help it out. Let's put deformed. Let's help this. There we go. This is what he was looking for. Now let's see. I think we're gonna have to go with the top right one, y'all. That one okay. That one gonna get the fear mongering out you. Now that one ought to scare the shit out of you. Cool. Marlon Wells, I even think his accent is fake. Yeah, I think he was going for this one here. Let's hear him out.
It's a street cat. Now, if you see that the animal has a tail that is not coming out of its rear end, but it's coming from its forehead, and you realize that the animal is 1,000 times more massive than the previous street cat that came into your backyard, wouldn't you be alert to that animal? Because, you know, it also comes.
Yeah, I would want you to call up the UN right now and tell them, please come take all of my rights away. That's a scary ass cat in my backyard.
close to various assets that you have in your backyard, you would be worried that it may come through the front door. You may lose some sleep. However, if you want to ignore it and just say, everything that comes into my backyard must be a street cat, you know.
No, I'm going to ignore it and I'm going to say, ain't nothing in my backyard. That's my dumbass neighbor again. His name is astrophysicist Loeb. He trying to scam me because he's a scammer and I ain't falling for it. Because my neighbor, his name is Avi Loeb, y'all. And he's been trying to sell me this fancy security system. But I told this bastard, I don't want that damn security system. So ever since then, he been shaking my fence. He been, buying animals, throwing them in my yard. And every time I get scared, he say, see, man, I told you to get the security system. That's the planetary defense program. Extortion. That's A.V. Loeb. Ain't no animal in my backyard, sir. That's my dumbass neighbor, and I told him I don't want to pay more money for this security.
You can live in peace, and of course, ignorance.
Right, and you can be ignorant, but if you be ignorant and then soon as you don't buy that security system from this scammer, he gonna get on the phone, he gonna say, yes, send in the goons. The Negro, he doesn't want to buy. Yes, go and rob him. Yes, rob him tomorrow. Yes. And then now he got the goons beat me up and robbing me. And I'm like, Loeb, call the police. Quit standing there eating that crunch and munch, man. No, I told you to buy the surveillance system, but you not buy. No, whoop his ass. No. Like, man, AV in on this shit. AV and get the nigga fucked up. Everything stopped once I got that security system. Ain't that a bitch? Soon as I install his system, now it ain't no more threats. Talk about extortion. That's NASA for you. That's the DOD and the Planetary Defense Program. Look at everything that happened after September 11. With the way we go through airports and all that. How much power it gave the federal government over travel restrictions and all that overnight. But yet it ain't been a 9/11 since then. And they will bring in certain psyops like the OKC bombing, all that, and it'll never be another, and they're very spaced out. And when they do happen, these people will take drastic procedures, and it's like these are spotted once in a lifetime events when you really add it up. But they are able to scare you and fear you with this one little psyop, like, we gotta do something about this, man. Like, no, we don't, bro. If some hit the earth, it's God's will, right? Ain't we a Christian nation? God say in the book of Revelation that he gonna destroy everything anyway. Quit trying to work against God, you fake ass Christians. I'm just saying, let's say that it is a real rock. Then God willed it, man. Everything written in prophecy, right? That's what they teach us, right? So God wrote in prophecy, I'm going to shoot a shit turd shaped looking rock toward the earth, right? I swear to God, 3-eye Atlas looked like the turd that I shed out this morning. I'm telling you, look at it. So God said in the end of days, I'm going to take a big fat fucking dump on the earth and the scientists going to look for ways to deflect this turd. It's a 33,000 ton turd. And they said, man, God full of shit. And if God want to throw turds at the damn earth in the end of days, what your Bible said, right? Your Bible say in the end of days, God gonna get mad and just start throwing shit up out of heaven at the earth. and he gonna obliterate the earth. Sir, you can't be like Shaquille O'Neal and think you just gonna be deflecting and packing shit out the way. You can't beat God in this game of basketball, sir. Y'all fake Christians. Y'all be contradicting yourself. Y'all said, well, God said the world gonna end with all these cataclysms, but when God come back to do this shit, y'all gonna be fighting against God. God, we ain't ready for you to destroy the earth. We love it here. Please don't knock down Disneyland. Like, damn, now God came to take you to heaven. Now you ain't ready? No, God, I was just capping. I don't really want to go to heaven. Please don't destroy the earth.
So comes close to various assets that you have in your backyard, you would be worried that it may come through the front door. You may lose some sleep. However, if you want to ignore it,
see, when you look at it like that, it looks stupid from a religious level. Because the reason I brought that up, you got to keep in mind, the Vatican is in on this. The Vatican using their observatories to promote the fear. And the Vatican is saying, yeah, we got to bring in the policy. You know they're going to promote this to take more of your rights too. And you got to ask the people at the Vatican, why are y'all so anti-biblical and fighting against God? Are y'all the synagogue of Satan?
it and just say everything that comes into my backyard must be a street cat, you can live in peace. And of course, ignorance about.
Like, think about this, right? If my backyard is his backyard and all of us live in this house called Earth, why do you give a fuck about a citizen being concerned and scared? Why is you desperate for me to be scared of the cat in my yard? You shouldn't want me scared. You the astrophysicist, you ought to be saying, listen, we ain't even got to talk to the people about this. It's our job to deflect these turds whenever God flush his toilet. Okay? So my whole thing is this. If I paid my mechanic to fix my brakes, why is he so adamant that I be scared about my brakes falling out on the highway? Why do you want me scared? I gave you my money so I don't gotta be scared. It's your job to fix my brakes. So as a mechanic, you shouldn't want me scared. You ought to say, bro, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I got you covered because that's my job. You can ride with ease. Boom. You see what I'm saying? This is what's going on. So it shows you there's an agenda. Why do he need the public's cooperation? We ain't astrophysicists. We don't know how to deflect turds out the way. So my whole thing is this right here. He needs your cooperation, but what do he need you to do? Let me show you. He need you to be scared of the big ass cat in your backyard. How is that gonna help him? How is it gonna help him, y'all? Huh? Cause look at my thumbnail, it'll tell you how. It's cause your fear equals United Nations control. That's right. He needs you scared. If you ain't scared, there's no reason to get policymakers involved. There's not a public outcry. He need you to be concerned and scared. Please, United Nations, please come on. There's a big ugly ass cat in my backyard and he got his tail growing out of his forehead and he's 10 times the size of a regular cat. Save me, save me. You got that, man. The propaganda they use is just horrible too. Like, just horrible fear propaganda. Well, if you just want to be ignorant and you just not afraid of this cat that's in your backyard, then he may come into your house and he may say, meow, meow. Oh, my bad. This is a monster cat. So he said, meow, meow, meow. Look at that.
And that is if you prefer to believe that anything in the sky is a rock. Okay, so including objects that come into our vicinity, close to our home. And the situation is similar to suppose you look through the window.
Suppose, and the situation is similar to, okay, let's say, okay, maybe you swim in the ocean and there's a hammerhead shark here, there's a tiger shark here, you have a whale right here, two killer whales right here, and they all swim around you, okay? What are you going to do? You're going to stand there and, swim there as if, I don't care, okay, and boom, now the shark bite your head off, okay? And now your head is on the ground because you were ignorant. So let's just suppose, okay, you're on an airplane.
Fatality.
Okay? Oh, that was because your head got bit off by the shark. Sorry about that. Okay, let's say that you're on an airplane and you find yourself on the wing of the airplane while it's flying, and you're hanging onto the wing saying, hey, let me in, let me in. You're not just going to hang there and say and ignore. You're just going to say, hey, okay, I hang here. I don't care. I just hang here. I don't care. I'm just ignorant. See, boom, boom, now you fall off. See, that's why you should let me take your rights away. Come on, let me call up my buddies at the UN. Because you don't want the shark to bite your head off, right? You don't want to fall off airplane wing, right? Okay, hand over your rights right now.
And that is if you prefer to believe that anything in the sky is a rock. Okay, so including objects that come into our vicinity, close to our home. And the situation is similar to suppose you look through the window and you see an animal coming into your backyard. The most likely situation.
Okay, I have another one for you. Okay, let's say you have to take a shit, okay? But nothing won't come out, okay? Nothing, and you say, but nothing come out, and boom, your whole stomach just blows open, right? And there's shit everywhere, okay? Because you were ignorant, because you did not let the United Nations help you. See, we could help you with that. But you said, no, okay. So now look at Shitty Man, all right, over there, because he don't want to give over his rights, okay? So now you smell like shit, okay?
The question is that it's a street cat. Now, if you see that the animal has a tail that is not coming out of its rear end, but it's coming from its forehead, and you realize that the animal is 1,000 times more massive than the previous street cat that came into your backyard, wouldn't you be alert to that animal? Because, it also comes close to various assets that you have in your
and the animal may even have diseases. Don't forget that part. You can't forget that part. No, okay, because this is he's a scary cat. He has a tail growing out of his forehead. He has another leg growing right here, and he has a baby arm, not a cat arm. He's a cat, okay? But right here, he has a baby arm. It grows out, and it just does this. And this cat, okay, he has red eyes, and not to mention the diseases and the smell that he has. So, you ready for me to call up UN? I call them now. You ready?
Backyard, you would be worried that it may come through the front door. You may lose some sleep. However, if you want to ignore it and just say, everything that comes into my backyard must be a street cat, you can live in peace.
Right, you can. You're stupid. If you just lay there and you say, "Hey, it's just a street cat," but this time it may be grizzly bear. Okay, this time it may be 700-pound anaconda. Okay, you never think about that. Okay, it may be. Okay, you never know. It may be woolly mammoth. Okay, it may be saber-toothed tiger. Okay, Ezekiel the God. It may be Ezekiel. Thank you so much for the donation. That's going toward the UN. Thank you. But you know, to you ignorant people who just want to sit there and not give me your rights, okay? Then hey, then the ugly cat, it eats you up, okay? You get eaten up by ugly cat, okay?
And of course, ignorance about the environment is.
I mean, if you want to ignore that this cat has a fucking tail growing from its forehead, then I mean, you know what I mean, you know, and I just mean you're part of the problem.
Self-promoted, you know, you may lose some sleep. However, if you want to ignore it and just say everything that comes into my backyard must be a street cat, you know, you can live in peace and
like, bro, if it's in your backyard and you in the hood, it is a street cat, and it ain't the one with the tail on his forehead. It's the drunk one that stumbled onto your property from. But he normally be standing up at the corner store. Street cats stumble into niggas' backyards all the time, right? And they be drunk as hell. Hey man, what up, bro? Oh, bro, you got the wrong house. You drunk. Oh, my bad, my nigga. Everybody knows some street cats, but you trying to make us scared of street cats. And he doing the Jello pudding lips. Don't he got the Jello pudding lips, y'all? Let's zoom in. He the Jello pudding. Look at this shit here, son. He do look like a Reese's monkey right here. I ain't gonna even lie though. He do got them Jello pudding lips right there. But just a satanic liar.
Everything that comes into my backyard must be a street cat. You know,
everything that comes in my backyard must be a street cat.
So you can live in peace and of course ignorance about the environment is self-promoted.
Ignorance about the environment. So listen, if it's your job and the UN and all of them job to deflect the object, that shouldn't have nothing to do with the people and their fear and their agreement that there's something there or not. Because if you in the same house I'm in that's gonna get hit by this object, then you don't need to be in the house arguing with me about why I don't think it's a threat out there. If you think it's a threat in the backyard, then won't you grab one of these guns and go do something about it? Because I'm playing Grand Theft Auto. Get away from me. That's what I'm saying. Now imagine that. Imagine all of us sitting up in the house and this motherfucker right here is telling you, okay, if you want to sit there and be ignorant about what's in the backyard. And I'm like, bro, I don't believe you. All right? I don't think shit is in that backyard. Well, okay, you're just going to sit there and be ignorant? Like, bro, you the one need to be getting up doing something about it. You the one believe something in the backyard. I'm the non-believer. So I need to have the energy I got. Now, let's say you go out there and save everybody's life. You get to come back and say, see, I told you there was an ugly cat. He had a tail in the top of his forehead, and I shot him 2 times, and now he dead. He's 10 times the size of a regular cat. Come on, bro. You want everybody in the house to be scared so we can, hand over our power and shit. Like, bro, we see the game.
We can decide not to care about it. We can insist that everything in the sky is comets. But that will not change the nature of objects that come to our backyard. If we have a neighbor, some intelligent civilization that happens to be not far from us, the fact that we ignore it would not change its existence. Having a neighbor has nothing to do with the opinions that we hold. It just for.
See what I'm saying? I'm going to ignore it. They want y'all to focus on this because I'm finna tell y'all all of the agenda right after the video.
The same reason that the Earth was moving around the sun for 4.5 billion years before the Vatican insisted that it's moving around that the sun moves around the earth, you know.
You see here? You see here?
And the earth continued to move around the sun irrespective of what the Vatican said.
And he really think the earth is moving around the sun. What a dummy. Now this dude is a Harvard astrophysicist.
And so for the same reason, you know, if whether we have a neighbor, whether we are being visited by alien technology, these facts would not depend on what we say about them. We can ignore them and sleep.
See, y'all see the psychological operation? Man, there is a dark time coming in the world, and it's people like him that's at the forefront of it. This is part of the white nationalist agenda. This is part of because people, these policies are going to be implemented on the people at the bottom, just like they got the United Nations in Chicago right now. It starts with the people at the bottom, handing over more of their authority under the guise of we trying to keep you safe, just like bringing the UN into our cities. So it's crazy, man, that we can't see the trick bag.
Well, that's fine, but I'm suggesting that we should be aware of that possibility because we launch technological gadgets.
I say everybody laugh, chill, and say we don't give a fuck about it. Do what you gonna do. This is extortion. Give us more money, more power, or we gonna strike y'all from above. And if you don't think that we will do this, because I'm telling y'all right now, Blue Beam is real. They got the technology to do this. And they want you to just hand over peacefully your rights and everything. But they still gonna have to fake an event because they want people to really, as we go into this new era of control, a planetary event like that will really lay the foundation for the NWO. And I'm finna tell y'all how. We only got 30 more seconds of this left.
Gadgets out of the solar system.
All right, Professor Loeb. Well, hopefully, if we do have some neighbors, hopefully they're the friendly kind for sure. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
See there? Now let's talk about this part here. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. All right? Let's get down to the, hold on. First of all, before I get into how they'll benefit from this, let's talk about the bull crap, right? Now we got rovers on Mars. We got all of these satellites they say is around the Earth. We got stuff out there floating around, scanning space. But when it comes to 3-eye atlas, the only way we can see it is with a dot on a computer animation or a CGI animation of the object. We can't see anything in real time. And if you ask, if you do any investigation, they'll say you can't have a live stream of 3-eye atlas, right? Because of the bandwidth power limits. You know, trying to relay the signal back to Earth from Mars, right, would be impractical, they saying. They didn't say they couldn't do it. It'll be impractical. That's what they saying. I looked it up. I'll share it with you. I'm on, but you know, when this thing scanned, but the thing is this, while we read over this, right? Do we care about impracticalities when we giving you $90 million a day? You got to do what's impractical. Like, if it can be done, we need to do it. Now, they don't have no real footage of it at all. And you know that we get a lot of photos from the Mars rovers, but we can't snap the snapshots at the perfect time when 3-eye atlas pass. We just can snap of the air up in the sky to a rover that's going to be in that area. I'm pretty sure that would be something very scientific we would want to do. No one's going out of their way to get a real picture of it, but yet, let me show y'all why that's a problem. They'll say, well, we can't do it. We can't give you real images of 3-eye atlas. We can't give you real video footage of 3-eye atlas. And they will make up excuses on why they can't do it, and I'm going to give you some more of them now. But look at here. The James Webb Telescope giving y'all photos of galaxies that's light years away from Earth. And look at the quality. The James Webb Telescope snapping us photos in real time, sending them back to Earth within minutes. It's further away than 3-eye atlas. But they gonna tell y'all we can't, it's impractical to relay the signal back. Come on now. This 3-eye atlas is way more important for us to be focused on than pretty galaxies far away. Why would you launch telescopes and all that to look at beautiful galaxies far away, but you ain't launched no telescopes to go and track these doomsday objects that y'all knew was gonna be headed toward Earth years before they was coming? You knew this thing was coming. And all that money y'all getting, ain't nobody say, you know what, let's build some specifically for 3-eye atlas. Let's launch it and have it ready so that we can see it in real time when it crosses Mars. We can monitor it on its trajectory and we can actually see this thing with our eyes, the real object. Well, Sanchez, we ain't got the technology to do that, okay? And when every time y'all say that, then I gotta debunk you. Here we go. Here go my next proof. Watch this. Here go video footage of the sun, y'all. Come on, the sun. High definition video footage. And they, bro, okay, listen. 3-eye atlas was just near the sun. And you telling me the cameras that we got orbiting near the sun that's giving us these damn high definition photos and videos, not just photos, videos. We got cameras that ain't melting, y'all. I'm gonna say that again. We got cameras that ain't melting, y'all. Look at this image. Look at how close this satellite camera is to the sun. It ain't melting, y'all. I want to know what kind of material they made it with. I want to know what on earth can be that close to the sun and just giving you a live motherfucking HD definition video footage. You can see the damn balls popping up off the sun as if you were standing right there next to them, but they can't give me real video footage of a doomsday rock that's only the size of Manhattan. And you knew it was coming decades ago. But all I get is a computer screen with dots on it. But we get real video footage of the sun now. No dots, none of that. Real, we can show you a video. Let's play one of them. Look at this. So if there's a camera watching the sun out there, why didn't it show us 3-eye atlas? 3-eye atlas just passed the sun. I can't make this up. Watch this. Now they telling you we got cameras that's out there looking at the sun. But 3-eye atlas just was near the sun and we didn't film it on our camera. Hold up. Here it is right here. 3-eye atlas hit by a massive energy blast from the sun. This was on Newsmaker and Voyager. 3-eye atlas now detected as close to the sun. And there go the same liar that was on the other news show. Here go the United Nations. We'll watch that one together. So 3-eye atlas near the sun. Now keep in mind, they said we got cameras that's near the sun. That's what they said. They said we got cameras near the sun. And my question is If we got cameras near the sun, why did we miss 3I Atlas flyby? Who does that? I thought y'all were scientists. How did you miss the damn object that can nearly wipe out life on Earth? How you missed that? This is the most important object of all times. And you ain't interested in getting real video footage of it. Boy, that smell fishy as hell. You don't want to see the object that's probably going to take us out, but y'all want to see the sun. Y'all want to see Andromeda. We got real pictures of the Crab Eye Nebula. We got all of these damn pictures of galaxies that, according to y'all, we may not never make it to in our lifetime. Look at this video footage. But they can't give you real footage of 3I Atlas, the very rock that may destroy the Earth. Everything you gonna get is CGI and a bunch of data like this. We tracking it, and they showing you dots on the damn, look at this. It's a damn program, it's a psyop. There's no way to prove this thing at all, other than to take their word and be scared of the cat in your backyard with the tail growing out of his damn forehead. If the UN step in and start to investigate objects like 3I Atlas, which is what the astrophysicists like Loeb is calling for, how can this negatively affect the masses? Well, here's how the UN stepping in to investigate objects like 3I Atlas could negatively affect the masses. From a control perspective, centralized control over space information. If the UN becomes the quote unquote official body investigating objects like 3I Atlas, it could monopolize all data, meaning ordinary people, independent scientists, and amateur astronomers might get restricted access to raw images, telemetry, or live feeds. This would allow them to control the narrative of what the public sees or believes about near-Earth objects or interstellar visitors. That can be a whole new worldwide religion, y'all. I'm telling you, the new world order religion is gonna be doomsday myths. It's gonna be looking at dots on animations and airing them on big news platforms, getting people scared, hoping that the dot misses Earth, and then they pop champagne. But that's gonna reinforce the planetary defense and UN's power. This the future we going into. They got everybody dumbed down to push this. And boy, would this create a world dictatorship. It will literally give them so much power. It'll be like medieval times. It'll also be justification for funding and new taxes. A quote unquote global threat from space could be used to justify massive budgets for space defense, surveillance, satellites, and emergency measures as well. This could translate into new taxes, fees, or international levies to quote unquote protect the Earth, draining resources from the masses while enriching governments and defense contractors and NGOs, which is what they always been doing. But this just gonna be a whole nother sinister level to the program here. This would mean a loss of national sovereignty because countries gonna be pressured to hand over their space agencies' data or authority to the United Nations under the guise of quote unquote global coordination, which is what Loeb is pushing for. A consolidation of power. And what would call for such a drastic measure on Earth? An interstellar threat, y'all. This could erode national sovereignty and allow global governance to take precedence over local or national decision making. Again, a UN-controlled world. It can mean mass surveillance expansion under a quote-unquote space defense, a space defense banner, right? With new satellite constellations, which could be launched that double as surveillance platforms over the earth. And this is like these big balloons. They float in a certain area. They can be there for decades. And they got a huge grid of these satelloons in the upper atmosphere. These can be used for tracking people, communications, and infrastructure. People might accept it because it's framed as watching the skies, not realizing it's also watching them as well. And it ain't even watching that out there because it ain't no space. It's just watching you. This could mean psychological operations and more fear conditioning, because constant UN briefings about quote unquote threats from space could condition people to live in fear, making them more likely to accept emergency powers, new laws, or restricted freedoms. This can create a mass compliance effect similar to how fear of terrorism or pandemics has been used to justify new measures. We've seen this a lot in the past, people. You know, the most recent one was the pandemic. Every time Trump is in office, we have these mass exercises on the masses. And this time it's going to be even bigger than the pandemic, right? Because they run these psyops under Trump, because he is the one, for some reason, every time he's in office, we get these huge global conglomerate efforts such as the pandemic, where the UN, the World Health Organization, these sort of NWO institutions all, you know, join hand in hand to help with the global efforts. So we're going to see that times 10 under Trump. Shout out to Marlon Wells. Emergency budget will be looted first, even though money will have no meaning in this kind of crisis.
That's right.
So this can create a mass compliance effect. And we've seen these sort of mass compliance effects plenty times in the past. And this would also be the pretext for space weaponization, which in my theory, it ain't space weaponization, it's weaponizing the upper atmosphere, the exosphere. So we now have the technology to man technology in the highest layer of the atmosphere. And what that means as far as privacy and surveillance is crazy, because they got technology that can see through buildings. It can scan a building and have a sort of layout of the hollow space inside the building as well, and have a 3D digital map of what's air and what's solid, recreating the house and the interior, and even showing you people that may be, because that data will be translated. Now, the whole thing, from the highest point in the atmosphere, the zooming capability of these surveillance cameras is amazing. You talking about something that high up that can literally be looking down and zooming in with that amount of precision. This means there's nothing they can't see. When you have a network of these things in the upper atmosphere, they're covering a lot of ground of how you can angle the lens to see certain areas all around and turn around all like that. And the higher up you go, the more ground you can cover, a longer radius, far out. And the zooming capabilities. So the big brother, the eye in the sky system is real. And they're going to bring that forth through space weaponization, because we want to be able to see the rocks before they come. When God flush his toilet, we want to see that turd before it get close to Earth, because God's shit always flows our way for some reason. So, you know, we want to have a lookout for. We need a planetary on guard watching for those turds at all times, right? And we want to be able to play a little game called Turd Blaster, where we just shoot them out the way, just in the South, when you shoot the shit, that means you just sit outside and talk crap. You drink, you smoke, and we just sort of talk, have male talk, barbershop talk. That's when you shoot the shit. But in the case of the Planetary Defense Department, I mean, well, hey, If they blast 3i Atlas out the way, then that would literally be, you know, shoot the shit. I'm just saying, you know. But yeah. The UN could coordinate a quote unquote global defense plan, but in reality, it could be a pretext to deploy orbital weapons, interceptors, or laser systems that can also be turned toward Earth targets. Did you hear that? The masses would pay for a system that ultimately controls them rather than protects them. That's right. This could mean more information gatekeeping and censorship. The UN might partner with platforms to quote unquote counter misinformation about space objects, resulting in increased censorship of independent researchers or alternative interpretations. This means fewer open debates and only one quote unquote official version of reality. They will be the sole controllers of painting what reality is to us. And anybody challenge their version will be silenced. That's, bro, that is dangerous, man. And that's exactly what we see them galvanizing and laying the foundation for. All right. So that's what I wanted to share with y'all. I'm going to get ready for the next stream because I got a stream coming up right after this one. Don't worry, this one will redirect you to that one. And we're going to talk about how Trump sold America out by pushing Project 2025 after acting like he didn't even know what it was. See y'all on the next one. It's at 5 o'clock. See you in an hour. Thank y'all all who supported this show. Appreciate the super chats, and I'll see y'all again on the next one. Peace.